Well, I don't know that his is going to be the best. I have to go look at him. All I'm saying is that
voted for his.
did I ask a few minutes ago, where do you even vote?
Oh, international.
Like, do I actually see in the international office the T-shirts, or do they have them up in the cafeteria like they've done in the past?
No, they have it in the international office, so
All
it's
right.
like up on the wall.
So I'll go down there and I'll look. Maybe yours will look better in person, but I doubt it. Oh, that's gonna make it into the student reviews. He's so mean to her. What were we doing? Are we making linked list in here? No.
No.
What class is this? This is 200?
Yeah, 200. We have the players fighting each other now.
Oh, yeah. So we're supposed to have them fight to the death, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Was this how'd this go? A fun assignment? I assume
it's kinda fun to watch.
fun to watch them fight. All right, so we're supposed to write the logic to have Blaine and Mike fight to the death. They should keep attacking until one of them dies, and then the current stats of both should be displayed. You may assume Blaine goes first. That way you don't have to figure out who's going first or second or something like that. So let's write it kind of in the most straightforward way first. So what I'm going to do is let's first create a scenario where, before I even put this in a loop, I'm just going to have a scenario where Blaine just does one attack against Mike. All right? So that means we first need to try to hit. And that's going to require us to roll a d20, right? So inside of our player class, we have an armor class, we have a damage roller, we have a damage modifier. Okay, so we need to roll a d20 to try to see what our attack might be. So we have a try to hit, which is determining whether or not somebody's going to get hit. And this person's armor class is some number between 1 and 20, correct? Mm-hmm. All right, so in order for us to determine whether we actually hit, we need to provide it with a roll that has the possibility of getting to at least a 20. So we're going to pass this guy a d20, the roll of a d20. So down here, I'll go ahead and I'm going to create my, a dice collection. So I'm going to say attack roller is equal to dice collection. And this is going to be 1d20, like this. All right, so now we have the ability to roll a single 20-sided die. All right, with attack roller dot roll, and then we get the recent sum. All right, so now Blaine is going to try to hit Mike. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say attack roller dot roll. So we'll call that function. Then we're going to go ahead and say Mike dot try to hit. And who's going to try to hit? Actually, let me look at try to hit real quick. Let's make sure that it's Mike that we're trying to hit, or if Blaine's trying to hit Mike. Yeah, this just takes in a roll. So we are going to try to hit Mike. And we're going to try to hit Mike with our attack roller dot recent sum. Okay? Now, try to hit is going to return a true or false. So this guy returns true if we hit him. If we're able to hit him, that means we at least equal their armor class, and false otherwise. So we'll ask a question about that. We're going to say if, when I try to hit, in this case, this is Blaine trying to hit Mike. If that equals true, and this is redundant, you didn't even have to say equal to true, because this will just boil down to a single value of true or false. But you might like this syntax a little bit better for now. This kind of explicitly says if this guy ultimately boils down to this value. All right, so if Blaine, and this is not the same language, so we got to do this. So if Blaine tries to hit Mike and succeeds, now Blaine needs to do some damage, right? So Mike is going to, do we have what, take damage? Is that what we called it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we have take damage, and he's going, so Mike's going to take damage from Blaine's generate damage. Okay? So we'll say Mike, take damage, Blaine dot generate damage. So this function right here will generate whatever Blaine's damage is. That's his 1d6 plus whatever his attack modifier was. Mike will take that amount of damage, which will drain his hit points. But we're only doing that if Blaine successfully hit Mike. Make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. Then after that, we're going to decide, is Mike still alive? All right, so we wrote a display function, right? So let's go ahead and say Mike dot display. So regardless of whether we hit or not, we're going to display Mike. Now, I'm going to go ahead and before we even start, I'm going to say Mike dot display, and we'll say Blaine dot display. Just so we see everybody's stats right off the bat. Then this is Blaine trying to hit Mike. If he succeeds, then this is him actually doing damage to Mike. Okay? And then after that, we're going to go ahead and display Mike's stats regardless whether a hit occurred or not. All right, so this should be a single attack. This isn't a loop. This isn't fighting to the death yet. This is just Blaine walking up and trying to sucker punch me. All right, now I got amazing reflexes. I mean, we're talking like Matrix style stuff, like super slow mo. It's really weird, actually. But
Udemy course, right?
what's up? It's Udemy course. It was the 2-for-1 deal. It was the telekinesis thing, and then the Matrix motion. You could use it for dodging stuff. You could use it for just the slow walk down the hall because everything else is happening in real time. Okay, but just you are just.
Please teach us your ways. I like to see that.
The next course I'm looking at is the one on levitation, but it's weird. It has a weight limit. That's not us. We're on the desktop, right? Or are we in downloads? Python 3, CSC200. Blaine is not defined because I didn't spell your name right.
I was a little upset about that.
Were you? Why didn't you point it out? I was testing you and you failed.
I was hoping that you would correct yourself and realize your error, but I was like, you still spell my name?
I think we've already established the world revolves around me, so the fact that I even got close to your name should be just. In Python, it's not true with a lowercase. It's capital T for true, capital F for false. So I had to update my try to hit there to return what's actually true and false values. Huh?
There's also another one under damage. Under is dead, sorry.
Under who?
Is it true, false? That's not capitalized. Under is dead.
Is dead. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm not. I'm checking to see if it's equal to that value down here. All right, so this is us printing out Blaine stuff at first. Let me just actually get rid of those couple of displays up here so it doesn't muddy the waters. All right, so this is before the swing. Okay, so Mike has 55 hit points. Blaine has 65. It looks like Blaine did land that blow. I wasn't ready. Okay, you're supposed to say go first, right? Isn't that a...
I did. I just said in French.
Yeah, I said it in French. I don't speak French. Okay, so he hit me for seven damage. So he had at least a 1 attack modifier if he rolled a natural 6, but who knows? So in any case, I took some damage, but I'm still kicking. Actually, we know what his attack modifier. Your attack modifier is a 4.
I rolled a 3.
Steroids.
Yeah.
This is the barbed wire bat thingy, and it's on fire.
Shows wisely.
Okay, so Mike survived the first blow, so now it's Mike's turn to turn around and strike back, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll have Mike hit back. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna basically steal this code, and we'll say Blaine with an E, try to hit, attack roller recent sum true, and we'll say Blaine with an E, take damage from Mike dot with an E. See, look, I can't spell my own name. In fact, I missed more letters on my own name than I did in yours. I did that on purpose to make you feel better.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. That was thoughtful.
Vi, I still don't like your T-shirt. Actually, I do like it. I just like his better. I like a lot better. All right. So, it's just brutal. All right. So, now we're going to try. So, Mike presumably tried to attack this. We can move that into the player class if you wanted to, but we're just rolling a d20 like we're just sharing that dice out here. He's going to try to hit Blaine. If it's true, if he successfully hit, then we'll go ahead and have Blaine take some damage by Mike generating some damage, and then we'll go ahead and have Blaine display his current status. All right? So now we're still not fighting to the death yet. This is just him taking a swing at me and me retaliating once. All right? We're kind of sizing each other up is what we're doing. All right, I'll clear the screen here. All right, so okay, you hit me first, yeah, and then I hit you.
A 17 armor count? Holy crap.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Nice armor.
I don't know how I hit you.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. I mean, yeah. So in any case, we got him hitting me, then me hitting him. Now we want to continue this rotation until somebody kicks the bucket, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question about the recent sum that we're using. Is it the same roll that we're checking for both of them?
Which one? Oh, we are right now. Thank
Is
you.
that something we want to do, or
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. That's cheating. In fact, let's move this right before this. So we're gonna roll our dice, try to attack. Then we're gonna roll our dice, try to attack, because recent sum is always going to be whatever my recent sum with my attack roller was. So Mike was not re-rolling the dice. He was just saying, kind of like what Blaine rolled, so I'm just going to go with that. That is how Mr. Gonzalez plays games. He only re-rolls if it's to his benefit. That guy's a cheater. All right, so it'll look the same, but we're actually rolling the second time now. In any case, so now we want to go and we want to fight to the death here. Now, so we want to do this until somebody is dead, right? So we want to keep doing this as long as both of them are alive. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's go ahead and write this one way. But the way we're about to write it is going to have a risk. The risk is going to be that somebody might be dead and then still get punched, like hit while they're down. Actually, what might actually happen is it actually goes the other way. We might have a dead guy attack. So in this example, if Blaine drops me, I'm going to still get to retaliate. It's like my death move. It's like one last swipe. All right? But we'll look how to fix that. But let's just throw this. We're going to throw all this stuff inside of a loop.
Wait, don't a lot of games allow you to do that?
Well, we can decide. But
Yeah.
there's going to be consequences to our implementation. So what I'm going to do is, because right now we have a thing where we attack, that one guy attacks, the other guy attacks, we're going to spin back up, and we're going to do it again until, as long as both of them are still kicking. Okay? So I'm going to take all of this code here, all the stuff that we want to have happen each time. I'm going to cut that out for a second. I'm going to paste it back in a moment. So we're going to write a while loop. We're going to say while Mike dot is dead is equal to false, and Blaine dot is dead is equal to false. All right. Now, in reality, we probably wouldn't write it this way. We would say while not Mike is dead and not Blaine is dead. But I think this makes a lot of sense to beginning programmers. If is dead returns a value of false for Mike, meaning he's not dead, and is dead returns a value for false for Blaine, meaning that he's not dead, that means both of our guys are alive. If both of them are alive, then we want to do all that stuff. Okay? Over and over and over again until somebody finally dies. Okay? Go ahead and run this. All right.
Oh, you had an AC of 14 also, man.
Well, you're.
Man, you had an AC of 7. I still lost.
Yeah,
He's back in that hackathon shirt.
Hey, look at
Guy's
our
a baseball bat.
Come on.
There, finally, Blaine died.
On the number.
Yeah, you just barely.
All right, so now it's 2-2, right? Best of 5.
Like,
Ah!
oh my
Man, look at
God.
this.
Soundly.
Look, I'm still smiling at the end of this fight.
That did not roll well. Hand cramp.
All right, so now we have this possibility of the person who is dying. Well, because we're assuming Blaine always goes first, we have a situation right now where it's possible that Blaine might kill me, yet I still get to hit him one more time. In fact, if we do this enough times, we might actually hit a situation where they both are dead. Because I'm able to kill him on my dying blow. Okay. What if we wanted to find out how many times it took to do that? That's certainly a possibility, right?
How many times it took to?
I want to count how many fights, how many starting fights it's going to take before we actually run into the scenario where we both kill each other.
Sounds like stats.
But we're programmers now. What do I want to do? I want to keep resetting the fight. We're going to fight to the death over and over and over again, resetting their stats at the end. And we're going to do this until both are dead at the end of a fight. And we're just going to count how many fights that took.
Okay.
Make sense? I'm going to have a variable called count. Start off at 0. We'll fight once. Somebody's going to win. We'll ask, are they both dead? If yes, took one fight. If not, reset them. Do it again.
Okay.
Make sense? It's just kind of an interesting thing that we can do as programmers. Now, one thing we're going to have to do to our code here, though, because we're counting down our hit points, right? We aren't remembering our original hit points. We need to have our original hit points remembered. That doesn't count down. That way, when we reset our stats, we can set our hit points back to what they originally were. That make sense? So right here, where I'm setting my hit points, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create another variable called orig HP and set that to self.hp. So right off the bat, a player has two different variables that hold his hit points. One that we are changing as we count down. Another that we keep solid. That way we can use this value to reset this value when we want to start over. Make sense? All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give myself a reset HP function. And all this guy will do is set self HP equal to self.orig HP. As if that fight never happened, right? It's kind of like reviving him. So now a player knows how to start over. They're not getting a new armor class. They're not getting a new modifier. They're still the same fighter. We're just resetting their hit points so they can fight again fresh.
Okay.
Make sense?
Well,
Should we also
wouldn't
read?
you, like, have the ability to, like, never be able to attack at the same time? Because what if one person's just completely stacked and the other person's like...
Well, it's possible, but I think in our example here, it's always, well, I would say it's not possible. It will always be possible that they both could die. It might take a lot more, it might be less likely, but I think it's always going to be possible. Because one guy could have an armor class of 20, gonna take the other guy a lot of rolls to do that, but maybe he's lucky that particular time through.
Since we're resetting the health and testing at the same health, do you want to set the also reset the armor and maybe the attack?
Well, the armor doesn't go down.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Okay.
armor doesn't go
I see.
down.
Okay.
Attack modifier doesn't go down. They're not a new person. He just got up off the ground, dusted himself off, says, "Look, I got the same armor class. I'm still wearing the hackathon T-shirt. Okay, I still have my bat with the barbed wire that I lit on fire. Okay, okay, I'm ready to go. My hit points have been restored." Is the punchline. All right. So we're going to come down here. We'll go ahead and start a counter. So we'll start count off at 0. We're going to take all of this stuff. I'm going to cut it because we're going to be pasting that inside of something else. So we want to keep going as long as both players are still alive. So while Blaine dot, I'm just going to open change the variable. What do we call it? Is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, while Blaine is not dead, or Mike is not dead. If one of them is still alive at the end of a fight, they didn't both kill each other. Right? So, or Mike dot is dead is equal to false if either of those conditions are true. That means we need to fight again. Go ahead.
You can't use the double slash in that function.
Can't use the double what?
I think that's.
Oh, you can't. Yeah, it's or. That guy.
Yeah.
Or Mike is not dead. So if one of these guys is still alive, that means they didn't kill each other on the last fight. Make sense? So we'll go ahead and say count plus equals 1. So the very first time it's fight number 1. The next time through it would be fight number 2, so on and so forth. Then we'll do all this stuff in here. We'll display those stats. Now, what we do need to do right here at the beginning is we need to say Mike dot, what do we say, reset HP. Very first time through, we're kind of wasting our time by resetting the HP because neither of them have been hurt. But Each time through, as long as at least one of them is still alive, we'll revive both of them to full power. Increment count, so we're moving on to another fight. Go ahead and have them fight to the death, till at least one of them dies. Now, as soon as this outer while loop is done, that means they are both dead. And we'll do a print. Number of fights until double kill. Is concatenate on the string value of count. "12 fights before they both died." That was the end of the 12th fight. Mike was at -4. Blaine was at -1. Looks like I got in that little killing blow there. Because right before that, Blaine was at 3 hit points. I was only at 1 hit point. So he knocked me over. On the way down, I didn't cut the fingernails. Yeah, it was more of a cat scratch thing going down there. Oh, 12 fights again. Oh, come on, that can't be right. There's 11. Whew.
Oh my god.
This was going.
That was the
Going.
This is
issue.
nuclear.
Oh, I think we both got 19.
That doesn't mean this can't happen.
One of us has height. But what's
Place
the
your bets
AC?
now.
One of us has an AC of 19.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean it's not possible. Just will take longer.
That's why
I think the other
that
person has
creates
AC of
chance.
9 though.
One has 9, one has 19.
Why haven't
Place
you
your
died yet
bets.
then?
No, somebody's died.
Oh, somebody keeps dying. But
Yeah, somebody keep.
Until I die.
14,394 fights.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
Get the high AC.
Superman?
Wow, okay. Just both.
Guys dying. Goku versus Superman here.
See, isn't that kind of fun? Things like that you can do as a programmer. You just ask the question like, "Well, what if?" Yeah, not that we really care, but I mean, this would be inefficient in real life to just have 2 people just keep fighting until both of them are dead. You have to keep rotating in new people. Plus, it's it's certainly not a Christian worldview. Is one issue there, but all right. So now we we have the possibility of both guys going out. Now, what if we wanted to remove that possibility where both players, once one guy keels over, the fight's over? What can we do to modify our code? I mean, for starters, we're not going to reset hit points anymore. Well, actually, we can modify it and then prove that it never ends. So let's do that. We'll let it go up to 100,000 times or something like that. We'll just say that statistically, we're good. We're proving that that it can't happen. So how can I modify the code in here to ensure that the second player doesn't get a swipe if they have already died? If they already died.
if it's that it's true.
Where would I put that?
After
Display.
After this?
Yeah.
So if Mike Dodd is dead, now you can just leave it as is dead, or you can say equal true if that makes you feel better. So if Mike just died, we're not going to let him attack.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we do? How do we get out of a loop that's currently running? Break. So we'll break. What break does is it immediately exits us from the most recent loop. That make sense? So now what we've done is we've made this an infinite loop. Looks like we're asking an interesting question, but it's now an infinite loop because we are never letting that second person take that last swipe. Because if that second person died, if Mike died after Blaine's attack, we're not letting him attack Blaine. That make sense? So just putting a little if statement in there. now we'll have this running forever. We can leave, come back on Monday. It's gonna be still cooking.
Oh, this one has an AC of 2 only.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and 7.
And it's still not happening.
Somebody's got the beat.
All right, I exited that. I hit Control-C to kill it. All right, so you could always do that. Control-C will do a keyboard interrupt. So if you are in an infinite loop and your program won't stop running, that's how you can manually kill it. Control-C. If you're out at a terminal like this, if you're using one of those IDEs, there's probably a little red stop button somewhere. You can hit that guy, or all else fails, just close the window and reopen it. But that's the quick way of getting out of there. Okay, so now we know that this outer loop thing here isn't something we need to do, right? We can fight to the death one time, so I can go ahead and let me just grab this stuff. Get rid of this stuff and paste that in. Okay, so now we're back to our normal logic where we'll fight one time to the death. So there's our fight, and of course, Blaine's dead. Read it again. Blaine's dead. I mistyped something. Yeah, Blaine's dead. All right. So now in all of these fights right now, we are always letting Blaine go first. How do we change that?
You have to set up a separate account, so you'd be able to well, you can do it like 2 different ways. You can use like the dice roller and like roll, I guess, to see who goes first. You could do that, or you could set up like a separate.
Well, go ahead. You got a suggestion?
We could kind of randomize it, so we could take a random integer between of either 0 or 1. And we could have the players in a list, and then use the indexes 0 and 1 of the list in all the appropriate spots. So that way,
Okay.
change who goes first or second.
So what you want to do is you want to come up here, and you're going to say players is equal to the list containing Blaine, is it a comma? And Mike? So now we have a list of 2 guys. We're going to decide who goes first, right? So now who's going to go first in that list is going to be a random number between 0 and 2. Now our dice roller right now will give us numbers between 0 and 1. Our dice roller right now would give us numbers that always start at 1. So if I give myself a 2-sided die, it'll always give me a number between 1 and 2. Can I then just subtract 1 from the sum to give me a number between 0 and 1? Yeah. All right, so we're going to say current player index is, well, before I can do that, I need to give myself a dice roller. So we're going to say, if we use Dungeons and Dragons lingo here, who in here has played D&D before? One person. All right, so what's it called when we figure out who goes first? What's that roll called? Initiative. Roll for initiative. I always said that like in whatever voice I was imitating for that particular game, because I almost always play the aggressive character that just runs into battle, doesn't even consider who they're fighting. All right, so sorry, we're gonna call this guy initiative roller, and this is going to be a dice collection, and we're going to pass this guy 1d2. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to say initiative roller dot roll, and then current player index is going to be initiative roller dot recent sum -1. So that'll be some number between 0 and 1. That make sense? Okay. So now, instead of, we'll still ask if Mike and Blaine are dead, but instead of us trying to hit Mike, the person who's not going first, versus the person who is going first, how do I say who's not going first? Because that's what we're effectively saying here. Remember, we assumed Blaine went first before, so that means Mike would be taking the damage. How do I rewrite Mike to effectively say the player that is not going first? Because the player that is going first is current player index. So it'll be players at bucket current player index. This is who goes first is players at current player index. That's the guy that goes first. It's the other guy that's getting hit first. So how do I get the other guy? So if we even just want to put these in variables right now, this is the first guy. First guy is that. How would I write last guy? What would be the algorithm that I could write here to figure out who the last guy is? It's one line, but it's a little bit mathy.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint. You want a hint, or not a hint yet?
Does it have a plus in it? Is that what we're going to say?
Well, there will be a plus in it, but that wasn't the hint I was going to give
Okay,
you.
what's the hint?
You want the hint? So you're that weak in this moment.
Well,
In my
No. Hint is modulo. So you actually have two hints now. Plus sign and a modulo.
oh.
I've literally almost given you the entire line to write now,
Yeah.
which must be like so frustrating because like,
Like catch up.
modulo 2.
say this again.
No, I don't want to say it again.
Say it again.
I have a feeling you might have been right.
Say it again.
Blaine plus Mike modulo 2.
Not quite. Well, no, actually, you're adding two people together. Yeah, that's a little creepy. But some of your stuff is right. The modulo 2 sounds pretty good to me.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole adding two people together, that's just weird math. Let me ask you some questions here.
So,
What is 0? Now, and this is it percent or is it MOD?
Yeah, 10%.
What is 0 mod 2? How many times does 2 go into 0?
0, 0.
Okay. So 0 mod 2 is 0.
1 mod 2.
1 mod 2 is 1. 2 mod 2, 0. 3 mod 2,
1.
4 mod 2,
So you can tell if it's even or odd.
Starting to see a pattern here? Just keeps flipping back and forth between 0 and 1 if I just keep adding 1 to the value. So if first guy is players at current player index, second guy must be players at what?
Just modulo 2?
You just want me to write that?
No, current player index modulo 2 then.
Current player index mod 2. So if current player index is currently 0, 0 mod 2 is 0, so the first guy and last guy, same guy? If we're plus 1.
Current player index plus 1.
And I feel like we're just guessing. Plus 8! Mod 7!
Current player index plus 1. Plus 1 mod 2.
So this guy probably didn't need the parentheses here, but that number, mod 2. So if the first guy is bucket 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 mod 2 is 1, last guy is going to be the person at 1.
Okay.
If the first guy is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 mod 2 is 0. The last guy would be 0.
Okay.
Does that make sense? How those two flip back and forth?
Would you have to do modular 2 to the first guy too, or else it'll be...
No, because this is always going to be that value.
Okay.
We're going to change that value. We're always going to, at the end, we're going to add 1 to who's the first guy.
Okay.
Because if the first time the first guy is 1, the second time the first guy will be 1 plus 1 mod 2. So we will do that mod 2 thing that you're talking about for the toggling between them.
Okay.
Yeah. But relative to the current value of current player index, it'll always be like this.
Okay.
So this means second guy, right? So we can say the second guy, and actually if it makes you feel better, what we can do right here, I'll take those 2 lines, we'll put those inside of the while loop. That might be more comfortable than having this weird formula right in the middle of the thing. So really here it's the last guy who's going to get hit. All right? And then if he gets hit, the last guy will take damage from the first guy.
Just out of curiosity, why would there be a formula in the while loop if you had the assigning the first guy, last guy outside the while loop?
Well, because those things will change.
Oh,
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is these values will change in here. Each time through, first guy is going to get set to players at whatever current player index is. Current player index is going to get changed at the end, as we were just talking about. All right, so the last guy is going to potentially get hit. If he does, last guy takes damage from first guy. Then we'll say last guy should display himself. Then we ask the question, if the last guy is dead, break. Otherwise, we're flipping the tables, right? So now we're going to have the first guy potentially take some damage. If he gets hit, first guy will take damage from last guy. Then we'll display that.
you have to change the blade and display the first guy.
And then very last thing is we'll say current player index plus equals 1. Always add 1 to that guy. Which means that up here, and I think this is what you were asking,
Yeah.
is up here, this is mod 2. In this case, if we always just add 1 to it. First time through, 0 mod 2 is 0.
Right.
Second time through, 1 mod 2 would be 1. Third time through, 2 mod 2 would be 0. So on and so forth. All right? That was what you were asking, right? If we needed to be there. Okay. So now we should be able to run this code, and it should do exact same thing. Now, one question would be is, do we even need this second stuff here? Or could I actually remove that and just toggle who's attacking next? Oy. That was a rough fight. You had a 20 armor class. It just got destroyed. It never even hit you once, I don't think. Yeah. All right. This makes sense? Because now what I'm doing here is I'm figuring out who first and last guy is each time through this loop. I'm having first guy attack last guy. Then I'm going to change who first guy and last guy will be. Spin back up. As long as both of them are still alive, do this again. So this already has built into it the logic for not letting a dead guy kill the living guy. Because only one guy attacks each time through the loop. That make sense? All right, so for your homework, I'm going to give you this code as a starting point. Write a class called Fight that takes 2 players as parameters and provides a function called Fight to the Death that incorporates the logic from above. So basically the same stuff we've already written, we're just going to move this into a class such that we can say a fight is equal to fight Mike Blaine, and then we can say a fight dot fight to the death, and it has the output that we currently have. So we're going to take this code and we're going to do what's called encapsulating it into a class. That way we can have any 2 players fight each other using our fight class. Make sense? All right. I'll give you this code on Slack, and I'll put this up on Blackboard, and I will see everybody on Monday. I'll see some of you tomorrow morning at what time? 9? 9.